Okay, so I want you to go ahead and copy this question first. Ready? Go. This question is a very easy question, isn't it? So all we have to do is combine terms. And so this is one of those questions where I'll be really sad if I find out that you don't know how to solve them, right? Okay, so when we combine like terms, I want you to understand that the last names don't change. This is a family gathering question, right? Okay, so let's take a look. First, I'm just going to write this out. 4x squared plus 8x plus 1. And then you know what? Because in between the two parentheses, I see a plus sign. What that means is I don't have to distribute anything because a positive times a negative is a negative. A positive times a negative, positive is a positive. And a positive times a positive is a positive. So there's no symbols I have to change, right? So I'm going to keep it the same. And so I'm just going to basically copy everything over here because this is a plus. Now if this was a negative though, if we have to subtract this from that, what do we have to do before we open up the parentheses? Of course, we have to distribute the negative to everything in the back, right? So there you go. I'm going to do that. So the great thing about me writing everything out is that now I can see the same letter and the same exponent. I got x squared over here and I got x squared over here. I want you to know that you can only combine terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. Okay? So then this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to copy x squared. And then I'm going to go 4 minus 2. And 4 minus 2 happens to be 2. Alright? And then now I'm going to go ahead and look for x's. X by itself, right? There's no exponents. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my x and then I look at the number at the front. That's plus 8 plus 1. So what's 8 plus 1? 9. So that's going to be positive 9. Some people forget to put the plus sign over here. Please remember, if it's a positive, you got to put the plus sign. And finally, I have the 1, the number by itself, and the 5, the number by itself. So 1 plus 5 is 6. I know somebody's going to complain and say that one looks like a negative right there. So let me clarify. This is 9x plus 6. Okay? And so now we are done. And so of course what you're going to do is I want you to look at 23B. And then I want you to go to the board, write your last name, first name, and go ahead and give me the answer. Okay? Are we ready? Let me first show you the question. There you go. Uh-oh. Here you go. Here's 23B. Okay? Ready? Go. Okay, so now we have question number 24. And yes, you have to draw the diagram. I mean, of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I will tell you what I think is good for you, okay? Copy everything. Ready? Go. Okay, so it says, which of the following expressions represents the area of the shaded region in the figure below? So then you could be like, Miss Choi, it says, which of the following expressions? So where are the following expressions? I told you the test is multiple choice, but I'm not going to give you all the multiple choices as well, right? So we're just going to go ahead and solve it and come up with our own answer. But just understand that this is a multiple choice test, so there will be multiple options, obviously. Okay, now this one, tell me, do you think there's going to be more than one correct answer for this question over here? You are absolutely right. There is only one correct answer for this question. Because I want you to remember something. In your test items, there are some questions that are multiple choice, but then they really do have multiple answers, okay? But there are some questions where there's only one answer. When you look at a question like this, you should know right away that there's only one correct answer, okay? So anyhow, which of the following expressions represents the area of the shaded region? You know what that means? That means they want the area only for the blue part, not the little hole inside the rectangle, right? So then what do you have to do? We have to find the area. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to first find the area of the big rectangle. And then what are we going to do? We're going to subtract the area of the small rectangle. And what I really like about having rectangles as shapes that we have to work on is the fact that when we try and find the area of a rectangle, we gotta multiply the length and the width, okay? So for example, this one right here, we have to multiply x plus 27 with 5 plus 3x, okay? Because now that would give me the area of the big square, which ends up being the same thing like this. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but there you go. Remember to multiply, we use the box method. So I thought it was really cool how we're working on the shape of rectangles, and we can use rectangles to do our actual calculations. Okay, so we have x plus 27, so I'm going to put x plus 27 over here, and then 5 plus 3x, so I'm going to put 5 plus 3x over here. And then I'm going to multiply. For the small square, I'm going to do the same thing, okay? We have x plus 2, that's the length, x plus 2. And then we have x plus 4 down here. Okay? Let's not worry about the subtraction right now, okay? But I want you to understand that what we are doing is to find the area of the shaded region, the blue area. We gotta first find the area of the big rectangle. And then we gotta find the area of the small rectangle. And then we need to subtract it, okay? So there you go. First, we're thinking about just finding the area because that's our first step. So what's 5 times x? Good job. And what's 5 times 27? Oh, Miss Choi, why did you give me such a big number? I didn't just give you a big number. It's because on the final, it's a big number. Good job. So I didn't want to give you a small number like plus 4, and then you take the final, and then you see 29, and you'll be like, Miss Choi did not prepare me for this final, and I don't want to hear things like that, so I put a big number here, just like the final. Okay, what's x times 3x? Good job. And what's 27 times 3x? All we have to do is 27 times 3, which is what? Good job. And then x times 1, which is just x, okay? So now what we're going to do is combine like terms, okay? But before we do that, let me go ahead and multiply this side right here. So x times x is x squared, and then 2 times x is 2x. And then 4 times x is 4x, and 2 times 4 is 8. So now we have to combine like terms, okay? So let's see. I see that x squared all by itself. There's no other x squares in this box. I'm not thinking about that box yet, okay? So I'm going to write 3x squared. And then now I'm looking at x's. And we remember doing this, right? There was another question on the final that kind of sort of looked like this. We're just multiplying. So we see 2 x's. So I put the x down. We're combining like terms. That's kind of like question number 23, right? So 5 plus 81 is, good job. So don't forget the positive 86. And then the 135 is all by itself. So I'm going to write 135. Okay? Now over here, we're going to do the same thing. X squared all by itself. So I see the x squared all by itself, so I'm going to write the x squared. But hey, do you remember the minus over here? So I'm going to put the minus here and then put everything in parentheses. Okay? So I'm going to put x squared. And then now let's take a look. I have x and x. So what's 2 plus 4, guys? 6. So I have 6x. And then the 8 is all by itself. I'm going to put plus 8. So now in order for us to find the area that's only in the blue area, what we gotta do is we gotta subtract this big one minus the small one. That's why I put the minus over here and then I put everything in the back in parentheses. Because we're subtracting everything, not just the x squared. Okay? So then, let's finish this off, right? In order to get out of the parentheses, I said we gotta distribute the negative, right? So let me just copy the front part. 3x squared plus 86x plus 135. And then negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. Negative times 6x is negative 6x. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. Now we're combining like terms, and as you can see, I'm running out of space. So I hope you don't mind if I go this way. Would that be okay with you, or should I just go to a new page? New page? Okay, I don't want you to be confused, so. Okay, so there you go. That's my new page. Let me just copy everything. 3x squared. So what I'm doing right now is copying this down here. Plus 86x. And then plus 135. And then I see minus x squared.
Minus 6x.
Oh, thank you for telling me. Minus 6x.
Minus 8.
And minus 8. And now we just have to combine like terms, and it's the same thing. Okay? I'm looking for x squared, and I'm also looking for another x squared. I find it, so I copy the x squared, and then I look at the number at the front. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then now I'm going to look at the x. And so here's an x, and here's another x. So then I look at the number at the front, right? 86 minus 6 is going to be, good job, positive 80x. And then the numbers by itself, 135 minus 8 is positive 127. Good job. And so that is going to be our answer. Okay? So I know it feels like it's very complicated, but in reality it's not complicated at all. Okay? So we are actually done for today, believe it or not. And what I want you to do is I want you to just go ahead and finish copying everything. Should I go back? Are we all good? And then I want you to go ahead and solve this next question right here. There you go. Okay? So copy this and solve it and raise your hand. Okay? Ready? Go.